What is up, y'all? It's your girl, Brand New, and I'm back in the building. This time I'm back with a recap of Iyanla Fix My Life with Charisse, and I am not sure of the other young lady's name, but once I get it, I will add her, to the conversation. Okay, so episode starts out with Charisse telling her story about what happened with her husband. Charisse has been married for 20 years. She's from Real Housewives of Potomac. Let me just say this. My first impression of Charisse season one, and then all throughout, and I would say it took about season three for her to become likable to me, because it took that long, because I always felt like Charisse was holding back and not really showing us who she really was. I felt a Sheree Whitfield vibe from her, where, yes, I'm married to this man and he buys me all these things, and the man should pay for it all and he has the money. She was with that man for money. And I knew it because of how a lot of times, you guys, all you got to do is pay attention to how a person speaks. And if they begin to just only talk about money with love, and of course we all want somebody that has money, but damn, when that's all you care about. Remember, she went back and forth with Karen, I think season 2, about who planned a better trip and who does it like this, and she has a champagne room on the show. She was feeling herself in a broken marriage with a man at the end of the day did not want her. She said problems began to happen around year 9 of her marriage. I'm not shocked. I am not shocked at all, because I believe this has been going on for a while, and it just took her a while to accept the truth and really live in her truth. And those are two big things we must do if we are looking to get out of any situation in life. Iyanla points out that Charisse got duped into the marriage by charm and his money. And I wish they would have really emphasized that, because it's not just charm. Shit, that could be, anybody can have charm, but the man had some coins. Charisse, that is why you were there. That's why you was with him. What really got me was when Charisse said that she, I guess this was around the 9th year, and her husband began to lose interest in her. So he moved out of the bedroom into the guest room. And instead of her just seeing that as a sign and leaving him, she just moved out of the bedroom with him into the guest room. I mean, that's crazy to me. But when you have these deep rooted issues, you will begin to feel as if you have to chase love, because nobody has ever really given it. She tells us later that when she was younger, her father, she would sleep in the bed with her mother, and then I guess when her father would get off from work, she stayed in the bed with the mother so the father could pick her up and, just hold her for those few minutes and take her to her room. And she looked forward to that, and she always did that. And I was like, wow, even as a child, you were looking for love. Your parents didn't pay too much attention to you. They didn't give you what you need. And that's exactly what it is, you guys. When we don't get what we need from our parents, we will get it from external situations and people and habits, and we will turn to other things. So that is why it is very important that we watch this show for educational purposes, not just entertainment. This is educational, because we have to take better care of our children. We have to hug them, talk to them, give, just spend that time, instead of spending a whole bunch of money, just spend that damn time with them. Because what we are doing is we are laying bricks for the future. We're laying a strong foundation for that child. That way they don't, veer off into the streets or into the arms of the wrong person. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. I notice with a lot of women, they were once girls and they didn't get that hug and that kiss from their parents, the mother or the father. They was probably at work or busy with each other, not really paying the kids any attention. And that is how these girls end up getting pregnant, end up using their body, trading their body in for love. And with Iyanla, I love her show so much because she really takes you there. And it's important we have these conversations. We have them amongst our peers. We have it with our children. I'll be sitting my daughter down, when she gets a little bit older, because we already talk. But it's just important to have these type of conversations to educate your child, on their future and the choices you want them to make, and really put our intentions out there. Because if you don't have any intentions for your child, then the child will do their own thing. They don't want to hear shit that you got to say because you never laid any intentions down for them, any boundaries, any guidelines, So I really did like this episode. It was so good. I like that Iyanla said to Charisse, I'm looking at you and you look like a fairly intelligent, capable, adult. Because Charisse, one thing I will say with her is, what I really enjoyed about this episode is she didn't come to play. It was very different from Sheree Whitfield and Bob Whitfield and how they was on here cutting up. It was mainly Sheree, in my opinion, that was acting a fool on here. Not really. Sheree is extra guarded, whereas Charisse broke down. You began to see the ice melt, and it was absolutely beautiful. Because Charisse is known to, in my opinion, to be a little bit stoic and cold. One thing I will say about Giselle is Giselle told her truth first season about her ex-husband and all her drama. So I gotta respect Giselle for that, because Giselle always did that. I respect Charisse as well. Yes, it took Charisse a little bit longer, but I'm so happy that she got it. I am so happy that she understands the role she played in her relationship with her husband. Iyanla had a point in there where she was just letting her know, like, the relationship, it doesn't matter what your husband did to you, did for you, didn't do. That ain't nothing. That don't say nothing about him. It says everything about you. And Charisse really got that and understood that. And I loved it. Iyanla tells Charisse, and I really like these exercises that Iyanla does. She pretty much said to Charisse, why are you here? She asked her that question, why are you here? And then Charisse said, I'm sitting here today because I allowed myself to love somebody that didn't love me and didn't want me. And honey, baby, we done all been there. We did all, we may all get into it and act a motherfucking fool with each other and roll our eyes at each other as women, but we didn't all been there when it comes to some man that we wanted that did not want us, but guess what? He was no good for us. And that is the part, it was that part right there Iyanla was trying to let her know, I know you still love him. I know you do. I know he's still in your heart. But the relationship that you want to have with him, you can't, because that's not who he is. And see, when we break things down like that, it feels good. It feels good to know that sometimes you may want somebody, but that don't mean that they right for you. Sometimes you may want a certain job, but that don't mean that it may be right for you. The environment of the job or that particular person may not be right for you. sometimes we want things that are no good for us. And that is a lesson. That is a lesson a lot of us had to learn. Charisse has learned it. And look at how much time she spent with him. I know she feel like, oh, I done wasted a lot of... When you really come out of some shit, have you ever just sat there and said, damn, I spent all that time, that 5 years, that 10 years with this person, in this job, in this situation, just let my life just roll on right past me. That is one of the most haunting and horrible feelings to ever feel. And you could tell that was right where Charisse was. She kept saying, I'm in a bad place and it just don't feel good where I'm at. It's a very sad place. And I really felt for her in that moment. Because I know I've been there. And it ain't pretty. But guess what? Same thing, how you go to the car wash and they gotta do their little sections and it's a process until they start drying the car. That's what it is, baby. You just, you're being planted. You're being planted. And you're gonna sprout and grow and it's gonna get better. I believe Giselle once told her, you're gonna look back at all this and laugh about it. And sometimes we go through some of the most horrible things. And you say, oh, I'll never laugh about that. And when you get over some shit, baby, you can laugh about the shit. And people are just like, damn, you laughing about that? Yep. It happened. I own it. Hey. There was a part in here where Iyanla was telling Charisse, you have to define yourself. You got to know who you are right now. And, you got to know who you are right now before you could be the person that you want to be. So Iyanla began talking to Charisse about it's important to tell the truth. That way you don't recreate the same situation. You being clear, your husband and your marriage, and you get this empty slate, and then you go into the next situation, and then you recreate that whole situation again. And I did that. I've lived through that. It's horrible because you begin to think, I thought I changed. I thought I worked on certain things. And it's this struggle. Like, I thought I was supposed to be getting ahead in my life. I thought that I was past this with dealing with people, and whatever you don't deal with, it won't heal. And if something can't heal, you will recreate it. That could be physical abuse, verbal abuse, cheating, lying, stealing. Like a lot of our negative habits, a lot of our things that we're not proud of, even though we're not proud of them and we're ashamed of them, we end up recreating it. Because we don't never deal with it. I had a moment of clarity in my own life where I kept thinking about the negative things in my life. And I remember I saw an episode with Iyanla, and she told somebody something. She said, sit in that. Sit in not being loved. Sit in disrespect. Sit in abuse. Just sit in there and let your heart break. Just let it, we gotta deal with our pain and our shame and all the people that have hurt us, all the shit we go through on these jobs and in these relationships and in our families, and how we don't have a relationship with our mother, how we may not know our father is dead, we feel alone. Sit in that. So once I sat in that, and I didn't avoid it and then push it to the side. Like, once I really sat in just a lot of shit that I've been through, I was able to go down another path. Another path. One thing I will say that I love about myself is I'm an optimist. Shit could get real bad. Shit can get real, if you know what I mean. And a bitch would tell you, it's okay though. It's okay. People be around me like, well, bitch, I don't think it's okay. And here go my ass. It's okay though. We got the. I mean, It's okay. You know, I'm one of them people. I don't know why. That is something that is I noticed with myself, and I'm proud of that because it took a lot to get like that. But I like being an optimist. I would rather be that than a fucking pessimist. Okay. So back to the episode, but yeah, I like that Charisse was definitely listening to Iyanla, getting it, and it's such a different watching a show with somebody that's getting it. Like even the other young lady, I'm gonna bring her in and we'll go into her situation as well, but she was getting certain things quicker than most people. This show is more of a joy to watch when people are getting it. Because I find when people are fighting the information and they get critical and judgmental of well, how you know? You don't know. You know, it's like when they're not ready to take part in a process, it's a different show. It becomes this different show. So here, I really do feel like both these young, well, Charisse ain't all that young, but, you know, both these women, I really do feel like they want to heal and get away from the hurt and the pain from their relationships, you know. Okay, next we have Veronica of Second Wives Club. I have never seen that show. She's a very pretty woman. Basically, she, to make a long story short, was with a man that just kept cheating on her. And, you know, she just kept dealing with him. You know, and having I think she has, 3 or 4 babies with him. That is a fool. That's crazy. You know, when I see women doing that, and not to be on no judgmental shit, because I really try with that. If you know shit is not right in your relationship, why would you keep bringing a baby into it? And, you know, it's just like, why would you do that? But that is what people do. They ignore their intuition because they're not ready to sit and deal with that pain. They would rather get away from it. So Veronica pretty much states that she was married for 5 years and that she is on the show to get guidance from Iyanla because she feels like her marriage has wrecked her life. Okay, so Iyanla asks Veronica what was the last straw for her. You know, what made her walk away from her marriage. She said that the mistress of her husband had contacted her and was tagging her on social media and her kids who are teenagers. And, you know, and I'm just looking like, what a bitch. What bitch out here is tagging children into some beef with another woman? That's some tacky ass shit. And that's enough to make anybody go crazy. That's, I couldn't believe the woman was doing that dumbass shit. But it's some petty ass women out here. The lady had also tagged in colleagues. And, you know, she even spent the holidays at her home. Which is, to me, a red flag. And I heard this before out of somebody else. I believe it was Christina Milian and The Dream. I'll say allegedly now, honey. But he had some woman, I guess she was working with them or something, always around. And turns out he had been allegedly fucking the girl. And it's motherfuckers do that. These men do that bullshit. They'll be fucking the bitch next door. They is so shady with it. You know, they don't give a fuck. I mean, it be to the point where you're not even heard over what they did. How they did it, you know? And that's how it is in this girl's situation. But what was very interesting was, as she's telling the story, she has this glazed look on her face. There's no emotion. You know how when Charisse was talking, she was crying and into what she was saying. And she was feeling, you know, that was something with Charisse. Charisse had been thinking all these years and not feeling the pain of, you know, her husband not really wanting her, not accepting that. And this girl is not feeling at all. Iyanla looked at her and said, you recounting this like you talking about donuts. I was like, yes, Iyanla. because she's so stone faced, and she said, I just relived this 1,000 times, da, 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 da. Like, you somewhere else, you're not in the present moment accepting it for what it is, and that's why you can't move forward. Iyanla mentioned, she's shut down from the neck down, and she's lived this kind of pain and trauma because pretty much she watched her own mother go through it, constantly being cheated on and just sitting up there staying, and the mother before that and the mother before that, and Iyanla, and that was the same thing with Charisse. Charisse watched a lot of dysfunction too, cheating and just all types of shit, and she still stayed because she saw her mother stay, and then the mother before, and it's these patterns, this pathology that we all must heal. We have to heal it to deal with it. Because if you won't heal certain things, it's going to show up at work. And I know somebody that, they always act like they know everything, and, oh, I'm just so this, oh, I'm just so that, they know everything, but at the same time, it's just like they don't know shit. Because they get in trouble at work, gotta take anger management classes, and, that shit pops up. So you could pretend to be this good person all you want to. Your anger will show up at work, in your relationship, with your child. That anger that we all have, that we internalize, that we don't deal with, it will show up. And they call it a shadow. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that. Our shadow side. Everybody got a good side and a shadow side. The shadow side is what we don't want people to know and what we don't want people to see. And we all try to hide that. But it ends up coming out because it's there. Okay, so this is where things change a little bit. Iyanla gets on the girl about the man that she was with, and she was just like, well, what do you like about him? And she was just like, he's charming, they had a great lifestyle. One word that really stuck out was, she was like, he's very compassionate. And Iyanla said, compassionate? Yeah, with other people, and he's this and that. And then Iyanla said, well, why you wouldn't give your sons to him? And she said, oh, well, no, I would never do that. Why would I do that? They don't need to be with him. And I'm just trying to figure out what the hell is going on. You talking about how compassionate he is and this, that, and the third. And Iyanla gets to getting into some shit as far as letting her know that how he is with you, he may not be with the kids. How he acts with you, it's just with you. So don't take it out on the kids and try to keep him from his children, and she began to get upset and defensive, and which I noticed with a lot of women, especially since this Gloria Govan situation came out, where, Gloria is hurt and bitter, and, want to keep the kids from their father. And it looked like this girl got a little bit of that in her too. Some people are like that. Now, if he ever abused you or abused them kids, okay, I'm with you keeping them away, because it's all about the safety of the children. But if he ain't did none of that, then, let the boys be, with their father. They have a right to be with their father. That may be the best place for them to be. And her and Iyanla got into it a little bit later on because she did not want those boys to go with their father. She kept trying to fight Iyanla on that, and Iyanla was just like, that may be the best place for them. You need to learn how to surrender. You have to learn to, and then she finally ended up crying and showing some emotion, because she was beginning to melt. The ice began to melt. So, and I was happy for that. Happy that she was letting her guard down and beginning to receive the information. There was a part with Charisse that really touched me when Iyanla began to let her know about where the black woman has come from. You know, all the slavery, the beatings, the can't vote, the lack of education, and us pushing through, you know, all of those barriers. And I kind of like when Iyanla broke it down to her, letting Charisse know, you don't need no man to do nothing. You the black woman. You know, we can do it all. And I love that because I felt like Charisse needed that reassurance, you know. But like I said, both of these women, this is what happens when we go after men just for money and not love. Yes, you can want a man with some money, but you need to, Evelyn Lozada fits in with this too, and she was already on the damn show, and I hope she learned her lesson too. Stop dating people for what they have. You know, pay attention to the girls that are with people. And people could say what they want about Nene, but guess what? That bitch loves her husband. Loves her some Greg Leaks. Greg has gotten cancer. Nene been right by his side, helping him do his recovery, getting his diet together. That is love. Remarried that man because she loved him so much. You know, so it's just like, that's love. You know, she loves that man. Are we going to see Sheree do any type of shit like that? No, because Sheree is one of them type of women. Sheree Whitfield. Yes, I'm talking about you, Miss Sheree Whitfield. All you care about is the money. And see, it backfired on your ass because you didn't end up getting your child support. You had to keep going back in court. See what happens when we do things just for, you know, just for one thing, just for the wrong thing. We do things with the wrong intention. We have to pay for it. We got to pay for it. So, yeah, I hope Sheree gets her shit together. But these women are far, you know, they're way different, way more open to the process, and it shows. So towards the end, Iyanla asks the ladies what keeps them stuck, and denial and avoidance is what keeps Charisse stuck, and Veronica, what keeps her stuck is internalizing and work, not, you know, just shutting off, falling back, not dealing with stuff. And it's a lot of women that do that, you know, that I'm just about my money. That's all I fuck. And yeah, you know, we all want to be about, but we got to love each other. And that's what makes life richer, when we love each other, try to help each other. You know, that's what makes life worth living. Towards the end, once again, Iyanla talks with Charisse and says, you know, what did you sell your soul for? And Charisse says she sold her soul to have the things in life she's never had, all the materialistic, expensive things. I am so glad you are telling this truth, Charisse, because that is always what I got from you. And when you see a lot of women doing all that bragging and doing all of that, well, I got this and I got that, they are empty inside because they're trying to deal with that by buying things and talking about their money, and her competing with Karen, and, you know, I'm this, I'm Shaza, and whatever that fucking name is she got. You know, she's likable way more than Sheree, though. What she was open. So Charisse, honey, I'm seeing you in a different light. I was seeing you a little bit this season. I've seen in some ways you have definitely changed. Iyanla also mentions that I just don't get why the both of you can't just let it all go. And then the girl, Veronica, the woman I should say, she's just like, oh, well, you just can't, and it's just too hard, and it's just too this, and it's too that. And Iyanla is just like, what if you're wrong? What if that's something you're telling yourself? You're not doing the work. You're not trying a little bit here and a little bit there every day. You're just saying it's too hard. What if it's not? What if you just have to make just some, you know, little changes here and there, you know? And that's very big because we all tell ourselves, well, I can't do that. It's too much. Start small. With any goals, start small and you will win every time. A lot of times we assign ourselves goals that are way it's okay to dream big. I don't want to say that, but break the goal down. That way it's realistic that you can get it accomplished. So Iyanla pretty much ends the show with these two women. She says that they are the example of why women remain stuck when they are unwilling to acknowledge what they really want, think, or feel. And it's very important for us as women to go after the things in life that we want, not what our mother wants, not what our auntie, fuck them. No disrespect, but it's about what we want. And I really do feel like that's why we all become sad and bitter and depressed, because we're living our lives according to how our family and so-called friends want us to live. It's important that we ask for what we want, what we need. And I have never had a problem with that, honey. And Iyanla also mentions that there could be no healing without some feeling, and that is very true. You have to be able to sit within your emotions and cry and feel for yourself. And you may say, well, I don't have anybody. Just hold your motherfucking self. Because sometimes you may be all who you got, but sometimes you are all who you need. And I had to learn that. I had to learn that, yes, it's okay. I need people to help me do this or do that. But at the end of the day, I got to hold myself down. I got to have my own back before anybody can have my back. Okay, so we got Iyanla come in, honey, with some rollers and the little hairnet thing. She looks a motherfucking fool. I was like, Iyanla, Let me say this real quick. There was a part in here that was shady as fuck. I laughed my motherfucking ass off because Charisse is always bragging about money, and Iyanla was just like, you got on this $800 outfit, and I was like, ooh, child, $800. Charisse should have way more money than that, honey. I thought that was interesting. It was funny though, because I wasn't expecting that. I thought she would say 8,000, but okay. Anyways, Iyanla was pretty much letting them know that this is how it looks when you are stuck. And it must be a lot of bitches that's stuck, because this is how they show up at the grocery store, dropping their kids off. Just don't care about their appearance. Just don't, they're not in the present moment. They're not dealing with the things that are going on in their life. Charisse began saying that, Iyanla had her close her eyes, and she began saying that she had a longing for a man that did not love her. She loved somebody that didn't love her. And she really had to sit in that, and she began to cry. And it was just beautiful that she is sitting in it and she's on that path, because like Iyanla said, unless they're willing to sit in it and call it out for what it is, they can't heal and go forward. So she has Veronica close her eyes, and Veronica, she began saying, when I think about my father, I feel sorrow. And Iyanla was like, well, why do you feel sorrow? Because he destroyed his family, by all that cheating and disrespect he was doing, I guess, to her mom. Yeah, Veronica said her father wasted her life. And then Iyanla was like, well, how do you feel like you wasted your life? And she said, by steady putting up with a man that was cheating on me and disrespected me. And they discovered that she was running so far away from her father is that, she actually ran right into him and became him. And it's funny, a lot of people don't like their parents, but, and don't want to be nothing like them, but they become them as they get older, because they never challenge themselves to deal with their issues. And there was also a part Iyanla mentioned where she was telling the lady Veronica about her kids and how the kids are involved. And the girl was like, no, they're not. They ain't got nothing to do with that. And then Iyanla was like, yes, they do. When you carried them kids, they felt your heart. They felt everything you were going through, all the negativity, the disrespect, the dysfunction. They felt all of that. They grew in your belly. kids pick up on that and they begin to subconsciously live out whatever you're presenting them with. And I think that that's very true. It's a paying body. They inherit a paying body from all the things that you've been through. So if you're a woman that, was dealing with domestic violence, they heard their father hit you. Whether they seen it, they can feel that shit, So they can feel when there's no money. They can feel when their father doesn't want nothing to do with them. They can feel when you don't want nothing to do with them. Children, the way that they feel is so innocent and pure, and it's true because it's in its natural form. Children are who we used to be. They are in their natural form. They don't have the layers of barriers on them, and they don't try to protect themselves the way we do. Because we learn a lot of defense mechanisms because we don't want to feel. We don't want to feel. We want to just think. Okay, so let's get to where they are at now. I guess let's get on the lady. Veronica says that her time with Iyanla taught her how to trust herself and to look forward to her future instead of dwelling in her past. And then I thought that it was very interesting what they said about Charisse. They also said that Veronica is no longer allowing her ex-husband to affect her. So that's really good. That's good, Veronica. And then with Charisse says she has not been using Iyanla's advice, instead choosing to walk her own path. All right, Charisse, don't get on that bullshit. Don't come all the way on this show. But I think you're headed in the right direction. You were open to the process. I give you that. So I give you the benefit of the doubt. Next time, honey, is going to be Brandy Maxille. Y'all know Malaysia's bestie that was all up her ass on Basketball Wives. We'll actually see her crazy ass on Iyanla, and it's going to be good, honey. I am so here for it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It is your girl, Brand New, and I will check you guys out later.